What's up, guys? Lucas here with Thanks for Playing. I'm here to talk to you about my latest obsession, the new FPS game, The Finals. The Finals has officially been out for about a month, and I've put in about 40 to 50 hours into this game, and I've loved every single second of it. We're going to be talking about the class system, the environmental destruction, and the design pillars behind these ex-Battlefield devs. Embark Studios was born out of a legacy created at DICE, where renowned game developers worked for years on the first-person shooter genre-defining Battlefield series. Years of crafting epic multiplayer battles instilled a deep understanding of what made the FPS genre tick. But these seasoned devs also had a hunger for something more, something unpredictable. Fueled by this creative relentlessness and a drive to break free of the constraints placed on them as a studio by former publisher EA, Embark Studios was launched in 2018. Former CEO of DICE, Patrick Soderlund, and former Chief Creative Officer, Rob Brunson, came together with a group of key talent from their old studio with one clear mission in mind: to reinvigorate the FPS genre again. And not with a nostalgic glance back, but with a bold and innovative leap forward. The first effort from the game studio came in the form of an announcement for a third-person extraction shooter known as Arc Raiders. While it's still being worked on, the game has been subject to delays after development of a second secret game had progressed much faster than previously anticipated. The Finals arrives. That secret game ultimately ended up coming to light with the eventual announcement of The Finals in August of 2022. The trailer garnered a fair bit of hype and attention among the broader gaming community thanks to the pedigree and track record of the devs working on the project. Inspired by their previous experience developing Battlefield, Embark infused the game with an emphasis of squad-based play. Unique gadgets and abilities fostered deep tactical synergies that turned teammates into more than just bullet sponges, but vital contributions to the dynamic dance of offense and defense that occurs as players scramble to cash out. On top of this, destruction is a fundamental part of the experience that shapes the game and how people approach objects. Executive producer of Project Rob Brunson noted in an interview, quote, "We're constantly surprised by the new and inventive ways players utilize the freedom the game grants. Why open a door when you could use a rocket launcher to blow a hole in the wall, right?" The game underwent a series of closed beta periods in early 2023 that functioned as playtests for small groups of players to give their input and feedback about development. The first ran from March 7th to the 21st, while the second ran from June 14th to the 21st. A notably lengthy open beta then followed and came shortly before launch, which ran from October 26th to November 5th of 2023. The Finals eventually released to the public during the Game Awards, which took place on December 7th, launching on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. How the Finals operates. At the heart of the Finals lies its base mode, Cash Out, which is a mode where strategy blends seamlessly with high-paced action and destruction. Here, teams of 3 players are tasked with opening vaults and rushing them across the map to specific cash-out locations. It offers a highly competitive gameplay loop that demands quick reflexes along with strategic mastery of the playing area. And because cash-outs never reset, the last team to steal the cash-out wins it. The tension builds as you wait for other teams to attack. There's nothing better than defending against an onslaught of multiple teams or creatively breaking through another team's defense for the cash-out. Players collect coins as they skirmish and strategize, which effectively serve as the spoils of their combat. Of course, collecting coins from fallen opponents is part of the fun, but that's not all there is to winning. The game cleverly factors in other metrics like points, elims, and T-base achievements, like revives and completing objectives. Cash Out really shines in the game's tournament mode, where 16 players split into teams of 3 and fight over 3 elimination-based rounds. The first team to cash out in the final round wins. The game also features a quick play option featuring 2 modes that are a variant of Cash Out: Quick Cash, which is a single round 3v3v3 version of Cash Out, and Bank It, which is another variant focused on depositing coins from down players rather than cashing it from vaults. The 3 pillars of design. The creative leaders at Embark have stood up 3 core pillars of design for the Finals. The first being appeal and brutality, the next being realism and stylization, and the last being chaos and control. Here's a quote from Meet the Makers podcast from Gustav Tilleby the creative director.
We kind of strive to make our arenas very inviting and pristine, but then as you play, you sort of tear them apart with destruction. And so that's one example of that, and how I think it's sort of more satisfying to break something that is pristine and colorful than it is to break something that is already worn and broken down, kind of.
One aspect of the game that's so interesting to me is the way the map seriously gets destroyed by the end of every round. And even after playing the game for a while, the sense of arena destruction still hits super hard, especially since every arena feels so clean when you enter it for the first time. The next pillar, realism and stylization. Here's Gustav Tilleby.
The other style and tone pillar is realism and stylization. So that's also about how, even though the game is quite exaggerated and over the top, it's still grounded in reality.
To me, this is where the game shines very much. As ex-Battlefield devs, the Embark team had to root most of their ideas in the military setting and therefore a realism backdrop. With the finals, we're able to ride this line of, yes, rifles and grenades, but also the silly goo stuff or an Elvis cowboy guy running around with the ability to see through walls. All this stuff comes together and somehow makes sense in this realism and stylization pillar of design. The last pillar, chaos and control. Here's Gustav Tilleby.
And the last style and tone pillar is chaos and control, and that is about making room for dynamism and destruction, for example, by having an art style that is uncluttered and kind of sleek and clean.
Now, to me, this dynamic of chaos and control is so core to the gameplay, it's rooted in the actual flow of the game itself. When a match begins, there's often chaos on the opening vault within 20 seconds of the game starting. Once that vault is secured by a team, there's a small feeling of control over which cash out you're going to take that vault to. And then, once you have control of the cash out, setting up a solid defense gives the team a sense of defensive control. And that sense of control is often and almost immediately interrupted by complete and utter chaos. Whether someone's blowing the floor out of you, whether someone's dropping in from the ceiling, C4, a nuke, it's utter chaos. This entire loop happens roughly 2 to 3 times per match, making the game flow very steady and, of course, very, very fun. Unique player classes and their synergies. Players select from 3 distinct classes: light, medium, and heavy, with each class being mirrored in the character's physical look. Light builds, which are very agile yet fragile. Often players use speed and stealth to deal with enemies. Medium builds serve as balanced soldiers, providing a blend of mobility and durability, as well as a lot of defensive options. Finally, there's the heavy class, which are slow-moving tanks that offer formidable resilience, defensive options, and environmental destruction options. Each class comes with its own set of gears and abilities that add an extra layer of strategy to the game. Light characters have some speed boosting tools and grappling hooks to get them off the ground, while heavies have the heavy artillery and the RPGs. And the medium class is that little middle ground, where it's kind of capable of doing a little bit of both and sort of becomes the de facto healer/support class. What's interesting is that any class can be fully dedicated to a traditional role like tank, DPS, or support, and each class has the ability to have a hybrid build. You can build a full damage light class with grenades, a shotgun, and a cloak ability to essentially one-shot enemy players. Or you can build a light class as a disruptor with an evasive dash and glitch grenades, which interrupt enemy abilities. You can roll a heavy class that's fully geared to destroy buildings and break through defenses with the charge and slam ability and an RPG. Or you could build a defensive heavy with a goo gun, which builds you walls on demand and barricades to block doors or turtle in a corner. A medium class could be built to be full support with a defensive riot shield, a turret, and a tracking dart to track those pesky cloaked light players. Each build and strategy in the game has a natural counter and nothing ever feels totally broken. Is your enemy all defense with 2 turrets, goo, and barricades? You can run in with C4 to blow out the floor, or charge and slam to break through the wall, or a glitch grenade to stop their abilities. If an enemy throws a gas grenade on the cash out, preventing you from stealing it, a heal beam will perfectly heal you through all of the gas damage. If someone throws fire on the cash out, you could throw a smoke on the fire to put it out, and so on and so on. This means that every player can choose how they want to play the game, and anything they choose as their loadout will be applicable to the current match in some sort of way. Even for me, it seems like every week there's a new meta or new meta loadout that players discover and everyone says is broken. And the next week is a new thing and the next day is a new thing. So right now the game is very, very exciting to explore, try new builds, and honestly, I think the devs have done such a good job of balancing everything that no one thing really feels super broken. There's a few abilities that do seem a little bit underpowered, but we'll probably see those buffs come later in the future as people start to develop more in this game. One other interesting feature of the game is how the game handles player deaths. Fallen players turn into statues, which teammates can pick up and carry to even a safer location for resurrection. If a player hasn't resurrected after a certain period of time, they could opt to respawn, which consumes an in-game respawn token. And there's a limited number of respawn tokens in the tournament mode, while quick play modes have an unlimited amount. The mechanic adds a layer of strategic depth as players decide whether they want to go for the res or focus on the objective instead. And of course, there's a gadget to instantly res your allies in a pinch, which is a must-have in my opinion for the medium class. The evolving battlefield. The final stands out for its emergent gameplay, which is a factor that keeps every match fresh and unpredictable. The game environment is a canvas for creativity, allowing players to actively modify the terrain by destroying it in a number of different ways. While you can level all of the buildings on the map through bullets and explosions, you can't dig through the earth itself. Senior environment artist Joakim Stixon notes that, quote, "We kind of had to draw the line at some point. Otherwise you would be able to dig your way through. We kind of felt at some point, if it's intuitive enough, that's where we kind of draw the line." The game currently features 4 maps, including Seoul, Monaco, Las Vegas, and the original Skyway Stadium. Map variants and game show events help add an extra layer of complexity to the gameplay loop and force players to adapt their strategies on the fly. Map variants remain static throughout the course of the game, such as having objectives on moving or hanging structures. Game show events occur towards the end of the round and serve as a one-time gameplay modifying event. Examples range from meteor showers that devastate players and the surrounding buildings to full-scale alien invasions where UFOs hover over objects and fire lasers toward the ground. On top of this, the arenas themselves are interactive playgrounds that are filled with items that could be used tactically, ranging from explosive barrels to throwable plant pots. Simply put, the finals from Embark Studios has completely reinvigorated the FPS genre, at least for me, blending high-energy action with strategic depth to captivate a wide audience. Its success is evident in the high player count and robust streaming numbers, appealing to both competitive and casual players alike. The game's dynamic environments, diverse player classes, and emphasis on both individual skill and team strategy have made every match unpredictable and exhilarating. This innovative approach not only revitalizes the FPS genre, but also sets a new standard, proving that creativity can attract and unite players of all skill levels worldwide. So what's your favorite loadout? Are you a light running a grappling hook and a sniper rifle? Or are you a heavy with a goo gun and a sledgehammer? Let us know in the comments. This has been Lucas with Thanks for Playing, and we'll see you next time. As always, if you like this video, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps us out quite a bit and brings more content like this to you in the future.